getting marks in exam, you have to refer the notes. Okay, if you refer the notes, that is good for exam purpose. And if you refer the PPT, that is good for understanding purpose. Any other doubts?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So with this, I have concluded the first chapter, first module, all the topics. And the notes of that, handwritten notes of the same has been uploaded in the Google Classroom. All of you download that, go through the notes, try to solve all the problems. If you're having any doubts in any of the problem or any theory, you can contact me. Or you can ask in the class only. You can contact me personally or you can ask me in the class. So that I will try to solve that problems and then I'll proceed further. That notes I have given only for you people to take a Xerox or whatever. Prepare for exam with that notes. Okay. If you want to write and score good marks in exam, don't refer the PPT. PPT is only for extract of the notes. Okay. Anybody having doubts regarding the previous chapter? Anyone is having regarding the previous chapter? Because today I am planning to start the new chapter, chapter number 3, first module, module number 3, first chapter. That is steam turbines. If anybody is having a doubt, you please ask me. If not, I will start with that chapter. Anyone having doubt?
So the first module's 2 chapters are over.
No, first module 1 chapter is finished. First module, second chapter is thermodynamics, based on thermodynamic background, which is not related to the further chapters. So what I did is I skipped for time being. I am skipping the first module, second chapter. I will keep that at the end.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I am covering the first module, first chapter. It is completed. Now I am going for third module, first chapter.
Okay, sir.
Third module, first chapter, I am completing. I am going now. Is it clear? So if anybody having doubt in solving the problem of first chapter or any theory, you can ask me. If not, I will go for the next chapter. Shall I proceed? Hope you cleared the doubt. And few more problems are there in the notes. You go through the notes. In the notes, I think probably 15 to 20 problems are there. You go through all the problems. If you're having doubt in any of the problem, come back to me. I'll explain. But whatever the topics I covered in the class, if you prepare for that, you can solve all the 20 problems in the notes. Whatever there in the notes, you can solve. Okay. Can I see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm going to present the PPT now. Okay. So again, at the end of the class, today will be quiz on this module. Okay. But you have to attend the quiz within the allotted time. After that, if you attend the quiz, you will not get any attendance because of just for attending the quiz. You have to attend the quiz within the allotted time. Then only you get attendance. Okay. So again, now I am going for third module, first chapter. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. This is the course outcome for the subject what I have taken. You can take this later, course outcome. And this was already discussed in the first chapter PPT only. First chapter PPT also. You can go through this. Then this is the module 3, chapter 1. Okay. Okay. In the module 3, chapter 1, we are going to study about the turbines. Say actual syllabus starts from here. Okay. But till now, whatever we have covered, it is just a basics, very, very basics of the turbo machine subject, as well as upgraded version of fluid mechanics chapter, fluid mechanics subject. In the fluid mechanics, you have studied about the model study, dimension analysis, geometric similarity, and then how to solve the problem by using that dimension analysis and all. You have already studied. Further topic it is covered in the first chapter. That is the problems on model studies and all we have covered. So today what I'm going to do is we are going to enter for the next module, that is a steam turbine. Okay, where actually turbo machine comes into picture here. But before going for that, introduction for the turbines, all those things is mandatory, so that we are covered in the first module. In the steam turbine, what do you mean by the steam turbine? Any definitions by anyone of you? What you understood by the steam turbine? If I tell about the steam turbine, what triggers in your mind?
These are turbines which use steam as their working fluid.
Very good. There are few turbines where the working fluids are steam. That's all. There are few machines which generates the electricity. There are few machines which generate the electricity. For generating the electricity, there should be a turbine. For rotating the turbine, there should be some fluid. What is the fluid using here? We are using a steam. If I use the steam to rotate the turbine and then generate the electricity, from the beginning, from steam to the power generation, entire plant is called as the steam turbines. Okay, so that broadly you can write the definition like this. A steam turbine is mainly used in, where it is used? It is used in a prime movers. What do you mean by prime mover? Anyone? Hello?
No ideas.
Very good. I know, because few prime movers, many students will get confused with the locomotives, prime movers and all. So this prime movers are nothing but a station. Remember, prime movers are stationary engines, where engines are not going to move at all. It will be fixed. Engines will be fixed, or turbines will be fixed in one location. Then the power will be taken out from that. Those kind of arrangements are called as prime movers, where IC engines also will become a prime mover if it is fixed. The generator, coming for the generator, whether it will be a prime mover?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because IC engines, even though engine is present there, but generator we are not going to move anywhere. It will be fixed in one place, and then electricity is generated. Those things. But it is in a smaller, very, very smaller case, so we will not consider that as a prime mover, but the function is same. Where the engine is or a turbine is fixed at one location and electricity is generated. Those machines are called as prime movers. Usually what will happen? Huge plants will be having huge plants where tremendous amount of steam will be allowed to flow over the turbine, or a huge quantity of diesel is allowed to generate electricity, or hydraulic plants. All those are called as a prime movers. A prime movers in which what will happen in the prime mover? Heat, and in this prime steam turbines, heat energy is transferred to mechanical energy in the form of rotary motion. This you know. Further you know, heat energy, because of the heat contained in the steam, is converted to mechanical energy in the form of rotary motion of the turbine. Okay, this is how where steam turbine can also be defined. Next, the steam turbine basically uses in electrical power generation in thermal power plants, steam power plants, to propel the ships in submarines. All these cases, steam turbines are used. See, in Raichur power plant or thermal Ballari power plant, all the power plants are running with the help of this steam turbines only. Okay, if the time provides, definitely we'll take you for the either Raichur power plant or the Ballari power plant, where the steam turbine is a major heart or a source for generating the electricity. Okay. Next, some history fact about the steam turbine. This is all some history, where this is not required for exam purpose, but you should know, being a mechanical engineer, when the steam turbines are generated, all those things, when it is introduced and all. See, the first turbine was made by Hero of Alexandria in the 2nd century. In the end of 18th century, the Industrial Revolution begins. Okay. As a part of that, James Watt started working on the steam turbines. The first steam turbine was constructed in 1883. Remember the dates, name, because I may ask the questions and quiz. Okay, remember, the first steam turbine was constructed in 1883, okay, by De Laval, and it was carried forwarded in 1884 by Charles Parsons. So by their name only, they have introduced a turbine. One is De Laval turbine is there, and other is Parsons turbine also is there, where those two are introduced in 1883 as well as 1884. Long back, they are already invented, and it was working from that year. And in 1896, Charles Curtis received a patent on impulse turbine. There are three inventors. One is De Laval, one is Charles, and one is Curtis. Charles Parsons and Charles Curtis. These three persons have contributed a lot for the steam turbine. We are generally while solving the problem also, we are going to solve three types of turbines. One is De Laval turbine, one is Parsons turbine, one is Curtis turbine. By their name only they are given. They are given the name, their own name for the turbines. Okay. And in 1910 was created a radial turbine. Okay. These are all the few history about the steam turbines. Then, to produce a steam, what is the major source? You already studied this in first year. How the steam is produced?
Boiler.
With the help of boiler, correct. So with the help of the boilers, the water is fed into the boiler, and then by the addition of the heat, the water is converted to the steam. That's what here. A boiler is a steam generator and is a device used to create the steam by applying heat energy to the water. It can be said that older steam generators were commonly termed boilers and worked with the low and medium pressures. Means earlier, whatever the steam turbines was used to operate was to operate only with the low and medium pressures. That is around 7 to 2000 kilopascal or 1 to 290 psi. But nowadays, the steam turbine was operating at very, very high pressure, not even at low and medium, not even at medium pressure. They are operating at very, very high pressure, where it is much more greater than 2000 kPa. We'll come to know how much is the pressure operating and all those things while solving the problems. Okay, very, very higher pressure for nowadays turbines, but earlier they used to operate only with low and medium pressure because of safety. And safety was a concern at that time. Now, because of improvement in the technology, we can control the highest, means we can control whatever may be the pressure of the steam. The damages may be controlled. Because of that, nowadays we are operating at higher pressure and electricity also generated at higher rates. Then, this is very important. At a pressures above this, it is more usual to speak as steam generator. Nowadays, if it is more than 2000, then only we'll call it as a steam. That steam is used for steam generator. Below this, we are not at all using for steam generating at all. Okay. Earlier, that was the major source. But now, more than this only, we will talk about for the steam generators. Next. A boiler is an enclosed pressure vessel in which water is converted to steam by gaining heat from any source. What is the source of giving a heat for the boiler or water? Either it may be coal, either it may be oil, or it may be gas. Either it may be any one out of this source, heat is given to the boiler, and then water inside the boiler is converted into steam or superheated steam. Okay. And boiler in thermal power plants accumulates the steam and builds up a pressure to expand it in turbine and converts thermal energy to mechanical energy. The generator which is connected to the turbine converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. All these we have already studied in the first year. What will happen? There are huge boilers will be there. With the help of a boiler, steam is generated. That steam is taken out to the turbines. So once the steam is ejected on the turbine, what will happen? The turbine starts rotating and convert to mechanical energy. That in turn, mechanical energy is converted to electrical energy with the help of generator, which are attached to the turbine behind it. This is a diagram of a boiler. And one more thing, this is also not important for exam point of view, but you should know before going for the steam turbines. This is very, very important for you to understand how the steam is generated. This already you studied in first year EME, even though I'm going to refresh it. So here, there is a coal bunker where the coal is fed into the bunker. Pulverized coal. Here, coal is at the bunker stage, a lumped form of coal is filled here in the bunker, and that is not fed to the boiler because it may reduce the efficiency. So what will happen? That pulverized coal, that lumped form coal is sent to the pulverizing mill, where this lumped form coal is hammered, and the lumped is converted to pulverized form, that is in the powdered form. The coal itself is converted to powdered form. That powdered form coal is fed into the boiler. See, this is the boiler. This is the furnace. This is called as a furnace, where combustion takes place. So what is the source here? The source for the burning is pulverized coal. Remember, pulverized coal is the source or a fuel used for burning. Okay. For burning, one coal is okay. You have supplied the coal here in the form of pulverized, and there should be air, no? The air or oxygen. That oxygen is supplied with the help of here. See, can you see here? Air. Air is supplied with the fan, and it is compressed. Air is compressed, and high pressure air is supplied over here, and that high pressure air is supplied to the furnace. Because of this air or oxygen, and because of this pulverized coal, the combustion takes place. Due to the combustion, the temperature inside the combustion chamber, or it is also called as furnace, The temperature inside the furnace will be very, very high. So that temperature is taken out by the water. Where it will be? Where is the water source? So here you can see the steam boiler. This is called as a boiler. This is called as a boiler. I will show you the figure of a boiler, original figure of a boiler. You just imagine here, the size of the boiler I have shown here very, very small. But if I go for the original figure, I will show you how much it will be, how much big it will be. That boiler consists of a water. Where you are going to, from where you are going to feed the water? See here, here you can see water supply is given out from here, where the water is supplied from here to the boiler. From this side, from right side, the water is supplied to the boiler. Here inside the boiler, there is a water at the initial stage. That water is taken out from the bottom, and because of this combustion, hot gases will be there inside the furnace. So because of the hot gases, the water will get heated up, and that heated water will rise to the higher level, or that heated water will be converted to superheated steam here. That means the heated water will go again to the same boiler. If it goes again to the same boiler, where the water will be at least settled at the bottom and the steam will be accumulated at the top of the boiler. That steam is taken back and it is superheated with the help of these tubes, where these tubes will convert the steam, wet steam, into superheated steams. And the steam is taken out from the furnace. So this steam is allowed to pass through the turbine. Okay. See, here we are concentrating only on this part, means the steam which is coming out from the furnace. This is interested for the turbo machine chapter. But behind that, what is happening? You should know this. See, I just imagine, I will tell you what is the size of this furnace. If I go for the plant, by a Raichur plant or thermal power Ballari plant, this height of the furnace will be till 4th floor. Means from the ground, the height of the furnace will be equal to the 4th floor of the building. Imagine what is the height of the furnace. Okay, and the boiler will be equal to 2 to 3 times the diameter. Just I am talking about the diameter. Diameter of the furnace, this boiler, will be equal to 2 to 3 times the height of each person. Okay, so that will be the size of this boiler. Imagine what will be the entire plant size. Okay, that you can see if I go for the industrial visit. If I take for the industrial visit, we'll show you. And this is a actual view what is happening, and this is a line diagram. Same thing, line diagram. And here you can see. Can you see this boiler? This is the size of the building here and size of the boiler. It is almost covered to the half of the building. So this is the size of the boiler. That boiler I have shown with a small circle here. Diameter of the boiler I have shown with a small circle. This circle I have shown here, shown there. So just imagine what will be the size of the furnace then. Okay?
Sir, is that the whole setup, or is it only the part where water?
This is only the boiler. This is only the boiler. This steam boiler I have shown, no? This circle is this diameter. This is only the boiler which is fixed in the steam turbine plant. So just imagine what will be the size of the furnace. Size of the furnace, can you see here? Compared to the boiler, it is very, very huge. So like that. So the furnace height will go up to 4th or 5th floor of the building from the ground. If I want to see, or if I want to see what is happening from the top, I have to climb 5 floors. Then only I can see what is happening at the top. That will be the size of the furnace. We will show you if you go for the visit. And these are all the types of the boilers. One is fire tube boiler and water tube boiler. And based on the operating pressure, that is again classified, that is ultra supercritical boiler. The pressure range from 27 megapascal are rated up to 590 degrees centigrade for the boiler. See, always for a boiler, if I ask you to define, means if I ask you to express the specification of a boiler or a steam plant, we are going to specify either in terms of pressure or in terms of temperature. Remember, if I ask you to specify what is the specification of a lathe, how we are going to specify the lathe? We are going to specify the length by diameter of the swing diameter, length of the bed, like that. Here, for the boiler, we are not going to measure the diameter of the boiler, height of the boiler or not. We are going to tell in terms of pressure and in terms of temperature holding capacity. So you can go through this PPT or slides later. What are all the different types of boilers classified under operating pressure? Supercritical boiler, ultra supercritical boiler, ultra high pressure boiler, high pressure, sub high pressure, medium high pressure boiler. See, earlier what was the pressure it was operating? Just it was operating under 2700 Pascal. Now it is 27 megapascal. It can operate at that range. Just imagine what is the improvement taken place in the steam plants. And based on the fuel used, solid fuel. See, solid fuel means the coal. Coal is not directly fed into the boiler. It will be pulverized, means it will be converted to powder form. That powdered form coal is fed into the boiler. That also you can see how they are going to make it powder with the help of ball mill. You can see that. And oil fired, gas fired, LPG. I can also fire the furnace with the help of LPG. If I supply the LPG gas, again, it will be easily, fire will be easily, the heat will be easily generated with the help of the fire. So these are all the major sources of the fuel. And based on the draught system, natural draught, mechanical draught, forced, induced, balanced draught, this means how we are going to supply the air. See, here I have shown, no? The air is supplied here. See, this is called the FD fan. That means forced draft fan. With the help of a blower, we are going to supply the compressed air. This is FD fan. You can see here. What is that FD fan? Forced draught system. Like that, ID fan will be there, balanced draught fan system and all. So based on that also, we are going to classify. So after that, only very important thing is these two: fire tube boiler and water tube boiler, because these are all operating pressure you can obtain in either of these two. But now I'll concentrate more on fire tube and water tube boiler. So can anybody remember what you mean by fire tube and water tube boiler?
In fire tube, the water is around the water is applied. No, the fire is, I mean, the steam is generated inside the pipe, inside the and outside in the surrounding there's water.
Okay.
And in water tube, water is applied in pipes and the fuel is burnt in the surrounding.
Yes, almost it is. You're near to the answer, exact answer, but you can further what exactly it is defined. And it is already, you already studied the figure of fire tube and water tube boiler in EME, right? So just I'll refresh those things and then I'll go for the actual syllabus of turbo machine. What do you mean by the water tube boiler? A water tube boiler is such kind of boiler where water is heated inside the tubes and hot gases surrounded them. So the best example of water tube boiler is your gas geysers at your home. So what is the function of a gas geyser? What is the function of a gas geyser? What we will do? We will allow the water to flow through a tube and surround the tube. We are going to supply the gas and we are going to burn the gas. So what will happen? Because of the hotness produced by the burning of the gas, that will be taken by the tubes. Inside the tube, what will there? There will be water supply. So that water will be heated up and the hot water will we are going to take out the hot water. That is the best example of water tube boilers, where the water will be inside and outside we are going to burn. Burning may be by using any source. By that it may be by using a fuel, by using a coal, by using a kerosene, or by using a gas, whatever may be the source of burning. But that whatever the tube, inside the tube, whatever water we are supplying, that water should get heated up. So that is the concept of water tube boilers. Advantage of water tube boilers. There are many advantages of water tube boiler, due to which these types of boilers are essentially used in large thermal power station. Because of in almost all the power stations, we are going to use the water tube boilers only compared to fire tube boilers. So why? Reason, there are so many reasons here. Larger heating surfaces can be achieved by using a more number of water tubes. Due to conventional flow, movement of the water is much faster than the fire tube boilers. Very high pressure in order of 140 kg per centimeter square can be obtained. So because of these are all the advantages, we are going to use the water tube boiler compared to the fire tube boilers. Okay. Remember about this values, each and every word, because if you want to attend the quiz, these are all important. Then, in that, while burning, you will come across one term called overfire burning. What do you mean by overfire burning? The overfire burning is a phenomena adopted to reduce the emissions. Because if I burn the fuel, what will happen? If I burn the fuel, emission will produce. So to reduce the emissions, there is a phenomena called overfire burning. That means that can be achieved by burning CO and unburned hydrocarbon in the upper zone of the furnace by supplying more air. If I supply the more air at the upper zone of the furnace, this CO and HC can be eliminated, because to eliminate CO and HC, this phenomenon is adopted. Remember, all those things are very, very important. And few points I taken from this one, gate questions. Okay. Next. So this is a construction of the water tube boilers. See here, the fuel is burnt. This fuel may be anything. This is a rough diagram, basic diagram of the water tube boilers. The fuel is burnt. This fuel may be of either by using a coal, gas, liquid, anything. So if it is burnt, what will happen? The gases will produce, hot gases will produce. Thus, hot gases will be surrounded over the tubes. Where is the tube? These are all the tubes. 1, 2, 3. These 3 tubes consist of water. Where the water is inlet for the tube? Water is inlet for the tube. See, first, water is inlet for the boiler. From the boiler, the water will get inside these tubes. And because of this burning of the fuel, the tubes, whatever the water is there inside the tube, will get heated up. And then hot water is taken out at the other end. And this, at the top portion of the boiler, a hot steam or a hot water will be accumulated. At the bottom portion, there will be cold water accumulated. So this is the basic working principle of the water tube boilers. Here, what you should assume is, understand here, as you understand the arrangement of the tubes. Arrangement of the tubes are in the form of incline. From always the colder portion should be at the bottom level and the hotter portion should be at the higher level, because of the density difference, the water flow will take place. Now, if it is in the reverse order, the water flow will not take place properly. So this is a very, very important arrangement. You should understand arrangement of the water tubes are in inclined position, and the cold part of the tube should be at the bottom level and the hot part of the tube should be at a higher level. Next. This is the figure of fire tube boilers. As Chinmay told, see here the hot coal, we are supplying, I assume that we are supplying a coal, gas or kerosene, anything. If it is burned in this portion, what will happen? The gases will produce. That if I arrest everywhere and if I allow the gases to flow through these tubes, if I allow the gases to flow through these tubes, and these tubes are surrounded with the water, bulk quantity of water, then this kind of arrangement is called as fire tube boilers. That means inside the tubes, we are going to supply the gas or we are going to supply the hot gases. And because of the hotness of the tube, the water which is surrounded these tubes will get heated up and the steam will produce. That steam is taken out. And the gases which is going outside from here, from left to right, will get cooled off because of the law of conservation of energy. Energy liberated from the hot gas will be taken out from the cold water and it will convert into steam. That gases is taken out from the chimney. This is called chimney or outside outlet of the furnace. See, by the figure only you can tell which is more efficient and why, or more efficient, which is more efficient and why they are efficient. See, this is water tube and these are all fire tube. Can anyone tell why and which is more efficient?
Fire tube.
Any other answers?
So water tube is more efficient
Can you tell why?
because of the quantity of water is less there, so there'll be more even heating of water.
Yes. See here, as I told earlier, we are going to define any of the turbine, any of the boiler in terms of temperature and pressure, not in terms of size or quantity. Here you see, even though the quantity of the water which is supplied in a tube is very, very less, but surrounding of the tubes will be, the entire surrounding of the tubes will be surrounded with the hot gases. So the heat transfer from the hot gas to the tube will be much more faster compared to this. Because what will happen here, if I supply the hot gas inside the tube and a bulk quantity of water surrounding on the tube, then the heat transfer will be not much efficient in this case. Correct? Only the water, because of the huge quantity of water here, the heat transfer will be not much efficient. The steam will not produce faster. Because of that, this is not so effective compared to the water tube boiler. But remember, quantity of steam produced in the water tube boiler is less compared to here. Because here, huge quantity of water is used. But the pressure and temperature of the water which is there in the fire tube will be less. So always, how we are going to define the or specify the furnace or a boiler, sorry, How we are going to specify the boiler? In terms of pressure and in terms of temperature, not in terms of quantity. If you come for the quantity wise, this is good. If you come for the pressure and temperature wise, this is good. Because higher pressure can be achieved, higher temperature can be achieved with the help of this water tube boilers. So water tube boilers are always preferred compared to fire tube boilers. But these are also having some applications where it is used. We'll see further. A fire tube boiler is a boiler in which hot gases passes in the form of a fire through one or more tubes, and the heat of the gases is transferred through the walls of the tubes by thermal conduction. Heating of the water is ultimately creating steam. See, these are all the differences between fire tube and water tube boilers. Hot flue gases flow inside the tube here in the fire tube, but here hot water flows inside the tube. That is the first difference. The second difference is these boilers are generally internally fired, and these boilers are generally externally fired. And these boiler pressure limited only to 20 bars, but here it can reach up to 100 bar. Understand here. Here the pressure can be pressure is less, but quantity is more. Here the pressure is more, but the quantity is less. So always the boilers are defined in terms of pressure and temperature. The efficiency of the boiler is defined in terms of pressure and temperature, not with the quantity. So higher pressure, which is having higher efficiency. So water tube boiler will be having higher efficiency compared to fire tube boilers. Then fire tube boilers has lower rate of steam production, higher rate of steam production, and not suitable for large power plants. Suitable for large power plants, involves lesser risk of explosion due to low pressure. Here, because of the higher pressure, 100 bar pressure, there may be a chances of explosion. And here, for a given power, it occupies a large space, it occupies less space. Boiler is difficult to construct, simple in construction, difficult in transportation, simple in transportation. These are all non-technical differences, but you should know those things. They require less skills to operate, they require less higher skill. They are difficult to repair in terms of cleaning because complete thing is packed. Here, it can easily be repaired. And they are required a large shell diameter. Here, the shell diameter will be lesser. The efficiency of the fire tube boiler is less compared to the water tube boiler. This is very, very important technical term. Efficiency of the fire tube boiler is less. Efficiency of the water tube boiler is more because it can operate at under higher pressure. It can produce high pressure. It can also operate at higher temperature. The maintenance of this boiler is costly. Here it is less. And some dimensions also are given. Okay, there are example of fire tube boiler which is have a Lancashire boiler you have studied, and here under the water tube boiler you have studied Babcock and Wilcox boiler. The other example also, there are many types of boilers, whereas Cronish boiler is one of the example for fire tube, which is having a length of 5 to 7.5 meters and 12 meter diameter. Just you assume 5 to 7.5 meter length, 12 meter in diameter of this kind of boiler. Imagine 12 meter in diameter. So what will be the diameter size of the boiler? And for coming for the Lancashire boiler, the length of the Lancashire boiler is 7 to 9 meters and diameter will be equal to 2/5 of shell diameter. So this is tube diameter. The diameter of the tubes will be 2/5 of the shell diameter and the length of the boiler will be 7 to 9 meters. Coming to the Babcock and Wilcox, length will be 8 meter and diameter will be only 2 meters. Diameter is 2 meter. Here, even though the diameter is 12 meter and length is too big, efficiency is less. Here, the length is also small and diameter is also small. Efficiency is greater because it can operate under higher pressure. See the dimensions of all those boilers. Just to show what is this 12 meter means, imagine how much big it will be. The diameter is 12 meter. This is corresponding to length. This is corresponding to diameter. Length, diameter, length and diameter. And in general, the boiler parameters or capacity are expressed in terms of tons per hour of the steam or pressure of the steam in kg per centimeter square, temperature of the steam in degree centigrade. Generally, the second two terms are very, very important, where their boiler capacity or parameters are expressed in this term. Pressure of the steam, temperature of the steam. Sometimes we'll include the quantity also. Quantity means tons of the steam produced per hour, means tons per hour of the steam. So these are all the three important parameters or like a specifications of a boiler. We are not going to specify in terms of length, diameter, width, thickness and all. We are going to specify in any one out of these three. temperature of the boiler, pressure of the boiler, tons per hour of the steam. Okay, and these are all the earlier invention of the steam turbines. The first steam turbine was like this. This was an improved version. This was the present steam turbine. Present steam turbine, it will be like this. Okay. From here, I'm going to from here, they are going to ask for the example. From here, classification of the steam turbine. Till now, whatever I covered, they are all for general understanding purpose for you before entering for the chapter or subject. But in the exam, for the exam point of view, we'll start from here. Classification of steam turbines. This is the first heading in the syllabus. So in the next class, I will take up this classification and I'll move further. So for today's class, what I did is just introduction of this steam turbine. Just I'll go fast and I'll tell what all the things covered. Definition of steam turbines are covered. Application of steam turbines are covered, and where it is installed, and then some histories about the steam turbine is covered. And what do you mean by the boiler? How the furnace and boiler is arranged in a steam plant is covered. This is the line diagram of the same thing earlier what I shown the figure. This is the original picture of the boiler and the classification of the boiler. It is based on tube. It is based on operating pressures. Under that, there are so many classifications based on fuel used, based on rod system. And what do you mean by the water tube boiler? Definition, advantages, and to reduce the emission, what they are going to use. These are all things we have studied. And this is the line diagram of water tube boiler. Line diagram of the fire tube boiler, how it is going to work. Difference between the fire tube and water tube boiler. And what are the different names of fire tube boiler? What are the names of water tube boiler? Dimensions of water tube and fire tube boilers. And then how we are going to define any boilers. Any boiler can be defined in terms of these 2 points. One is the pressure, temperature, and tons per hour per steam. Out of these three, last two is very, very important. Pressure and temperature. And then these are all the original picture of the steam turbines, which are invented in the year 1888. That is the original steam turbines. These were used earlier. So till here, I covered in the today's class. Anybody having doubts in any of the point till now, till here, whatever the part I covered till here? Anybody having doubts? In the next class onwards, I will go as per the syllabus. From here, that is classification of the steam turbine. These are all there in the syllabus. But the history, what I have shown right now, these are all not there. But being a mechanical engineer, you should know all these things. So I covered this. Shall I stop sharing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me, any students are having any doubt in this till now, whatever the topic I covered?
No, sir, no doubt.
Just I covered the introduction and just refreshed the topic of EME, whatever you have studied in Elements of Mechanical Engineering. Just I refreshed that, and then I covered the basics of, and then history, and then figure, dimensions, all those things. I think probably you're refreshed. Okay. Further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the problems or a derivation or a theory, which is after the steam generation. After the steam generation, how we are going to use the steam. That is important for us. After producing the steam in the furnace or a boiler, how we are going to use that for rotating the turbine. That is important for us. But before going for that, some history is required or background is required. So I covered this. And based on this only, I prepared a quiz, attend the quiz, and then wind up the quiz by 12:50 sharp. If you give the quiz after 12:50 also, I will not consider for attendance. Okay. Now if we go for the Google Classroom, there I have shared the quiz. Attend for the quiz and end the quiz by 12:50. If anyone is having doubt, you can discuss with me, or you can go for the quiz for the Google Classroom. The quiz is based on steam turbine. $12.50. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, nothing has come up in the Google Classroom yet.
Just refresh.
Refresh.
Did you got received?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Because no, I'll not post at the beginning, before the class. Once I'll post, once if I tell, then only I'll post, so that you keep on refreshing, it will update.
Can we leave now, sir, and attend quiz?
Yeah, you can leave the class. You can go for the quiz, and then B1 batch will be having a lab today afternoon by 1:45. 1:45 sharp. You join for the class by using the earlier link what I have sent. B1 batch. Others, you can leave the class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Others, you can leave the class.